What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Wildcat Cave. It's been a little bit since we made a video, but that means we have a lot to talk about. I'm sure most of you watched Kentucky take home gold at Global Jam, and it's fresh on everyone's mind still. Plus, if you're like me, no matter how down you've been on Cal or on this team the past few years, after watching those games, I don't know how you can help but to be excited. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how everybody performed and talk about apparently the best team on the globe. Really quick, guys, as always, make sure you subscribe. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers before football season. I know the power of BBN, and I know we can do this, so hit the subscribe button for me right now. Also, as we get closer to football season, the video content is going to begin to ramp back up. If you remember, I mentioned a really long time ago I got engaged, and now I'm less than a month from the wedding, so I will try to make videos in advance and post them while I'm on the bachelor trip and on the honeymoon. But if I'm not interacting with you guys like normal, that is why. Unfortunately, I will be gone right up until the start of football season, so it may take a week or two into the season until I can get back in the groove of things. So just bear with me, but I plan to be rolling this football season, and it should be exciting. But now for the basketball team. 40-0. That's it. That's the video. Cut the tape. That's how good this team is. If you don't believe me, go rewatch the games. I'm just kidding, obviously. But when you watch that team play, it's hard to imagine this team not being very good. I said it multiple times here on the channel that these are not the Bahamas teams we played in years past. These are legit professional teams, and I even said not to be surprised if we end up 0-4 in this tournament. And while I might have slightly overestimated these teams we played, make no mistake, Germany and Canada are the equivalent to legitimate Division I college teams. I did hear somebody in the media say that Canada was roughly equivalent to a top Big East or mid-major school. For sure not like a Duke or a Kansas, but probably like a Cincinnati or a Creighton, who in most years would be between a 5 and a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament, which if you remember is about what we were last season. Keep in mind that this is July. I don't want to get too overly excited in July, but if these teams really were that level of competition and we were beating them by 20 in July, that has to be a good sign, right? And that means this year's team would have beat last year's team by a good amount, which, if you recall, is what good teams did to us last year. Kansas, Gonzaga, and all those other teams we play, UCLA that beat us pretty handily. And we were right in that 5-7 range, right where Canada and Germany would be, and that these other national teams were. The closest game we had was an 8-point win against Germany, where we let them get close at the end, but was mostly a 15-point game. And in every single game we played, we led by at least 16 points at some point in the game. In 4 games, we averaged 92 points. I obviously don't think we averaged that many during this season, but that's a ridiculous amount to average no matter who you play. And as far as individual performances go, we had some guys really stand out. First and foremost is Antonio. The dude averaged 23 points a game. Very few players under Cal have even averaged 20 or more per game, and I genuinely feel like Reeves can do it. He can score at all 3 levels, and with so much talent around him, teams can't focus on him as the only scoring threat, which is going to allow him twice or triple the amount of open shots he got compared to last year. He also averaged 56% from 3, which is again an unheard of number. He might not be our best player this season, but he is likely the leading scorer. The next most impressive player I thought was surprisingly Reed Sheppard. I know everyone tends to hype up kids from Kentucky, but rarely do they live up to expectation, and honestly, I was hesitant to really buy into him just based on these past Kentucky guys that everyone gets excited about. But if he plays even close to what he did at Global Jam, then he won't be here for more than 2 or 3 years. He was our 5th leading scorer at 8.5 points per game, but impacted the game in so many other ways and really showed how valuable he can be to this team. I also think his athleticism really surprised some people with the way he was able to block threes. That's really hard to do even for great athletes. And also his basketball IQ, he made the correct play, and that was shown by him leading the team in assists with almost 6 per game. The dude is really smart, really athletic, and has a role to play this year. Another guy I was extremely impressed by was Adu. Now, if you've watched this channel for a while, you know my thoughts on Adu. I've been really critical of him, and I really didn't think he could contribute in a big way this year. And again, I know this is not championship level competition, but the way he played really stood out to me. His numbers don't jump off the page, but he can be the guy that does the dirty work. He's able to take contact and finish at the rim and make free throws. He's also the guy that'll dive after balls and fight for rebounds. Every team has to have a guy like him, and if he can continue playing at that level, then there is a role for him this year. We've gotten this far and have only mentioned one freshman, and it hasn't even been one of the top rated ones. I think that's mostly because we kind of knew what to expect out of DJ and Justin, but they both did deliver. Both guys averaged about 14 points, but they did it in very different ways, and both did things we haven't seen from our guys in a few years. We'll start with DJ. He struggled to finish at the rim at times, but he was able to blow by his guy pretty much at will, no matter who was guarding him, which is something we haven't really seen a lot of in the past few years. I mean, Kaysen and Ty Ty could some, but it seemed like DJ did it whenever he wanted. Once he put a little more size on and got some more experience, he will be able to finish more consistently this season. He shot 33% from three, which isn't record breaking numbers, but it did get better as the tournament went on. Either way, though, 33% is good enough to make people guard you and step out on you when you're on the outside, which does a couple things. It creates more space by not allowing people to sag off like we saw with Severe last year, and it opens up driving lanes if DJ decides to go to the rim, and it opens up cutting lanes and passes towards the goal, which is something we've shown that this team has already excelled at. In one game, they had 27 assists on 35 made baskets, so passing is not a problem with this team. And by having a guard like DJ on the outside, allowing those lanes inside to pass, it really opens up the paint and everything else for the other guys. Justin, on the other hand, started off fairly slow and didn't really get it going till about halfway through the game two. Then his shots started to fall, and we started to see why people had him as the number one overall pick. The thing about his game is that he's a super quiet player. Like, at no point did I really ever think, wow, Justin's playing great. And then you look up and he has 15 points and 7 rebounds. He kind of reminds me of Ty Ty in that way, but I think he'll be really good for us this year. Then you have Trey Mitchell, who just transferred in from West Virginia like a week and a half ago, or a week and a half before this tournament. And in his first game, he hits 4 3-pointers and scores 20. He also ends up averaging about 14 points, but the thing that's so refreshing about him is his passing ability. I love Oscar to death, and eventually I have an Oscar jersey you guys are going to see on the wall behind me. But he was not the best passing center in the world. Trey's ability to pass out of the post allowed for so many open shots and really impacted those games. Also, having a 5 that can shoot threes is exactly what this team needed. That means you can easily put lineups on the floor where all 5 players are shooting threats, which allows DJ and Rob and Justin to be able to get to the rim without the lane being clogged, which makes this team almost impossible to guard. Finally, you have Rob Dillingham, and he showed off why they describe him as shifty. Easily the best handles on the team. Now, like I've said before, Rob giveth and Rob taketh away. He is going to be one of the most electric players when he's on, but there will also be some games where he makes you want to pull your hair out. To me, his player comparison is Malik Monk, but maybe a touch less consistent. He'll be a streaky scorer, but when his shot is falling, he's going to make people look silly. Also, his maturity and accepting his role really impressed me after not playing much in a game and seemingly being very okay with it. Recognizing that other guys were playing better is something that most freshmen don't do, especially when they come with his type of reputation to Kentucky. So obvious to say that overall, I was really impressed and excited by this team. I'm not going to make any grand conclusions or assessments just yet. We'll have to see how the addition of Aaron Bradshaw affects everything, but I do think that this team could live up to the old Calipari standards. And one note about Cal and his coaching philosophy, this team averaged 29 three-point shots per game. John Calipari has never had a team average 20, and this team is shooting almost 30 right now. In one game, Cal said he wishes they shot a few more. I don't know how that will transfer to the real season, but this could be a shift in how Cal is heading in terms of offensive ideology. And I think we all owe John Welch a big thank you. We played a lot of 5 out in small ball, and Cal even said he really likes Trey at the 5, which is something I thought Cal would never say. But it is encouraging to at least think that maybe Cal has adopted some more modern basketball ideas. I would still like to see this team add one more big man. All of the reports coming out right now are that Kentucky is happy with what they have and will not be pursuing anyone else in the portal. But with Bradshaw and Ugo both having underwent foot surgery this offseason already, I think we need one more guy for depth, if nothing else. Now, if we could guarantee that Bradshaw and Ugo and Mitchell would be healthy all season, then I would say let's roll. But right now, I think it would be helpful to add one more big. They don't have to be a superstar or anything, but someone with experience would be needed, and it would be nice. As far as have my expectations changed any after Global Jam, overall, I would say no, but I would say that I'm more firm in where my expectations are before I saw this team. I said before that I expect this team to be a second weekend team and being beat in the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8. Well, now I think this team has to make the second weekend. Here is what I feel confident in. If we had a time machine and we could see the teams that would make the Sweet 16 this coming year, and we took all 16 of those teams and we took them back in time and put them through Global Jam, I guarantee not many of that 16 go 4-0. I think what this random tournament in July has done for me is raise this team's floor and ceiling in my mind. Just a few weeks ago, I said that I was really unsure if we even had the potential to make a Final Four. Now I know we have that potential. That doesn't mean we're going to get there, but I think we have the potential to be a championship contender. That is going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Once again, please subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers before football season kicks off. Let me know your thoughts on Global Jam down in the comments and how good you think this team can be. Like the video, share with your friends. I'll see you all very soon. Go Cats.